Welcome, everybody, to Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and Friends. I'm excited to be with you here today. We're going to talk a little bit about Fellowships of the Spirit, okay, School of Healing and Prophecy, and some amazing workshops that are coming up in the month of June. So I have some of my friends with me. I have Brad Young, who has an upcoming class. Hi, Brad. And then I have Jill Mattson, who has an upcoming class. I'm going to talk to each one of them. We'll talk about the classes and Ryan Gauthier. Hi, Ryan.
Hello.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining me. And of course, that's Karen Sully up top there. Our technical person, assistant, does everything for us. We wouldn't be on today if it weren't for her. So thank you, Karen. Hi, Jill.
Hello, Angie. It's lovely to be here.
Very good to see you too. So Jill, I want to start out and read your bio because I know you're teaching a class, but you do so many things. So and this isn't a long bio, but I just want you to all know who Jill is. So and a lot of you probably already do know, but she's been teaching awesome classes for a long time, and you see her too. I remember coming to the Earth Spirit Expo years ago, and my first singing bowl I got from you. And I love it. I still have it. Yes. So Jill Mattson is a prolific artist, musician, and author. Jill is a widely recognized expert and composer in the field of sound healing. She has produced 9 CDs. I have some of those too, with intriguing magical tracks using ancient and modern techniques and special healing frequencies to achieve profound benefits. Jill is a 4-time author, The Lost Waves of Time, Best Book of 2016, and Best Alternative Science Book of 2016. Deep Wave Body Healing CD, Best Sound Healing CD of 2016. That's awesome, Jill. Contacting Angels and Masters CD, and Deep Wave Beauty CD. Jill has participated in hundreds of teleseminars and offers an online sound healing school. I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. Talk a little bit about healing, Jill. So we're like energy healing and what it is to you.
Well, we all agree that everything's energy. Science tells us that. And energy vibrates. In simply counting the periodicity, the cycles per second, how fast it goes in a period of time, gives you a frequency. Now, we can hear some frequencies with our ears, but some are too low in volume and some are out of our hearing range. So you get frequencies from everything, from your room, from your house, from your shape, from other dimensions, from unseen beings, from yourself, from karma. And these things, plugging Brad, these things can be doused.
Yeah.
And what I've done is recapture the ancient art going from like Egypt to China to India to American Indians, their techniques of using really energy for healing. And as Pythagoras says, you can look through the lens of music because music is just a numbering system, a counting system, a way to see, use, dispense energy healing. And it's free, it's accurate, it's cheap, it's easy, it's reusable.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And it does everything. I mean, everything. There is nothing that can't be done with energy. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much what my sound healing's all about.
Mm-hmm. I love sound healing. You know, I love to sit like and like in a ceremony where you're listening to the bowls, and there's no better way to meditate and connect to that part of yourself.
So everything in yourself is a vibratory pattern or sound. So the bowls in specific create harmonics, and harmonics are an after ripple of sound, pretty much not known or ignored today. But in ancient times, they were everything. And when you look at science, again, such as Sherry Edwards' work, she'll look at, let's say, your digestion. It's a chemical formula. Each item in the periodic chart of elements, or each chemical, has a cycle per second. So if you put the cycles per second in a chemical formula, the math works. Like, that's amazing one, but amazing two is the math always also follows a pattern of harmonics. So think of your heart, it's going to have a root tone, boom. And then as the sound goes out like this, it's going to go out in harmonics. So everything in your body responds to harmonics.
Yeah.
And other than some of my CDs where I make them artificially, any type of digital, YouTube, whatever, gives you averaged harmonics. So that's why you love that live bowl, because it feeds your body, mind, and soul, literally.
Wow. I love that. Thank you for that. I didn't know that. And so that's kind of why I like with sound bowls where they're all like, I have some of them and some are like this. They're four different, like, aren't they four different chakras or different parts of your body? I think the heart, you mentioned
Well,
heart.
the pitch can go for the different chakras.
Mhm.
And some of the other bowls, or the biggest healing from bowls is their harmonics. So about several thousand years ago, the Tibetans came up with this 7-metal bowl. And the idea is that each metal has a different harmonic. Think of a violin playing a C and a trumpet playing a C. They sound different, but they're the same pitch. A, E, same pitch. Listen.
Yeah.
A, E, but E sounds higher. And that's the result of a harmonic. So initially, a gold bowl, and I'm making this up because I don't have the correspondences in front of me. Let's say the goal of a gold bowl is to cure your heart ailment. Silver, maybe gout. Tin, maybe indigestion or something. So each bowl, each metal had a different harmonic, which was an addition to the pitch.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's awesome.
I want to jump in, and I know with Jill's class, it comes with some sound. Are your angel attunements that are in the upcoming class part of the bowl?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to give everybody comes to the class 72 ancient names of God. In most every religion, they have this idea that all that is, maybe before the Big Bang, splits and separates in 2, 4, 6, 8, and way after that come us humans. But in our blueprint or evolutionary track, of course, we're all children of God coming from that initial energy. And maybe very early in the division came the angels. And you will find names of God, names of angels in the Hindu, in the Egyptian, in the Jewish, all over the earth.
Right.
And the idea is with ancient sound, it's not symbolic at all. It is the energy of what it represents. So like if you put sand on a drum and you get underneath and you go, oh, over and over, the sand's going to shake. It's going to go out to the edge of the drum and come back in. And it's going to create the shape of Om, the symbol for it.
Wow.
So literally the sound Om creates its representation. So the sound, like in Egypt, for walking forward is Ben. Walking backwards, you just say it backwards, Nab.
Wow.
So we think of angel sound as symbolic, but initially it's used as like a thumbprint, the same energy. So you can use it like a beeper.
Mm-hmm.
And people would, in all traditions, use listening to the names of God as ways to heal their physical body, psychic protection from someone dark, clearing, healing your body, advancing your psychic skills, everything. And they still today in the Hindu traditions will say the names of God because they're like an early subcomponent of frequencies that create all that is. So in and of itself, it's a very powerful healing. I did the Jewish names of God and angels. So in the Jewish tradition, it comes down to 72 names. And there was 3 ancient ways of speaking. I went to the oldest one, and in these recordings, I was trained how to say them in the old dialect.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to hear, but it really doesn't matter. You can either sing along with little charts or listen to them, and you're going to get the energy. And then there is another thing throughout antiquity, particularly in the Jewish tradition, which, like other ancient languages, believes their languages are like building blocks of matter. And indeed they are. So they have these charts that convert pitches to colors to shapes to sounds. So you can move them all over. So you can create a sigil, which is like a little shape for angels, of which I teach how to do that. People will wear them on jewelry to have like a beeper, a connection, a protection from an angel or a high being.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can create them to pitches. This also, an angel name, bum, 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 is different than bum, 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 bum. And each name of God, angel, has a pitch. And when you get more and more of the correlations, they become way more powerful.
Cool.
So
That's awesome.
the other thing in the Hebrew tradition, which is the name of gods that comes with this class, about an hour of music, and is that the names of God were 3 syllables found in Exodus, and it's a number pattern encoded. And then they added I or IL, Aya or IL at the
I
end.
think I talked about that before. Yeah.
Yeah, so the angel and the name of the God are pretty much one and the same.
Yeah.
So with the same sound codes, it's the chants of the names of God, along with connecting with the angel. And then each angel brings in a different benefit. So thank you for asking that, Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to tie it into the music. So
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So the class, so you got brought that, and that's what we want to talk about. That is Angel Reiki and activate your 12 dimension energy that Jill is teaching. It's on June 25th from 10 to 5. You can attend in person, right, Jill, or via Zoom. So we have that as a hybrid class. And what you were just talking about, that's the hour and a half of angel sound attunements.
Right. The other thing I'm doing with the Angel Reiki, again, these are very, very ancient traditions, and I study many different traditions. This one, I got most of my information from the great Hindu religions, and also the ancient Egyptians. When you see like Isis, for example, she'll have her hands out and it looks like they've made cloth wings or something. But the idea is that before we incarnated on Earth, and everybody was around before we incarnated on Earth, we were in another embodiment. And if eventually at some point in time, we were angelic. Okay. And as we come from the angelic realms into the human realms, then, like our wings get kind of like pushed into our lungs. And so the wings and the lungs kind of look similar. With different vortex methods where you can use like a scalpel and go into your aura, you can reactivate, pull out your wings, and then use them like Reiki. So, you can use your wing for protection. You can use your wing to rise above things. You can use your wing for downloads. So many things.
So it's kind of what you're doing in the class is taking us back to that time, maybe before we were in a body, is what you're saying. When we were a different form.
Correct.
And when we had our angel wings, which I love thinking that, and you're right, that does, like the lungs. I mean, that makes total sense. That is. So we're going back to that to connect with that original energy that we all have, right?
Right. And the energy then you wield with that etheric record, and I just do it with my imagination, can be used in a multitude of ways to benefit yourself and others. So it's a healing modality as well as spiritual enlightenment.
Yeah.
It's all for protection.
Yeah. So it's kind of it's almost like with intuition. Like when I'm teaching intuition, is I'm teaching them people how to go back inside. I always feel like I don't teach them. I take them back to what's already inside of them, which is powerful, right? Because
Yes.
and it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing too. Yeah,
Yes.
I love that. I love that. So and yeah, I mean, it sounds very powerful. So tell me some more about the class. I have the stuff here, but seize etheric records from former past embodiments outside of time, which is what you were saying. Animate new energies for potent modalities. So as you're doing this is going to improve your life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's on multiple levels because you can use it to connect more, to get more information. It builds your aura, and you absorb your aura. Your aura impacts your health, your future, who you attract, your relationships. And just like Reiki, like white light comes out your hand, you can have the energy of the wings. You can even learn how to divide that white light into colors. So, let's say I have heart disease, and that would mean that I have an imbalance of frequencies affecting my heart. I either have too much or too little. And let's say I'm just making this up again, I have too much red, and therefore now I have heart issues. So, when you do regular Reiki, that's beautiful because it's white light, the whole enchilada, it's the whole healing palette.
Yeah.
If I have an overabundance of red, I get all these healing tones and red, which is uniquely not good for me. So when you start to get a little bit more advanced in using energy healing, you can take it even a next step. So again, using your intuition, or there's a million charts, scientific charts that will correlate, this health issue with this color, with this color, with this color. And those same colors, of course, are going to correlate to your angels. So given that I have let's say a heart issue, I can draw in all of these 8 angels, or, with very specific, with all these specific emotional or physical problems, it'll tell you what color Reiki to use, or which angels to work with. And again, like if you draw their sigil, you're drawing in the angel. You wear their signal, you're drawing in the angel. You listen to it with the sounds of the names plus the pitches. You just start to absorb it. And when you absorb that, you attract it, because like attracts like.
Absolutely. And that's going to, because really any ailment that we have, anything that's going on in our bodies, is we're out of frequency or out of balance.
Correct.
And so kind of what we're doing in this class is teaching people how to call in the angels, and we all have them, and can call upon them, or bring in the color, right? And whatever. Correct. That's going to help us get balance and get and fix our frequency. That makes sense.
In the ancient Egyptian temples, in the Druidic magic, they had a concept of power, a degree of power. So like if you're casting a magic spell, you would say a name that gives you a harmonic, that gives you a pitch, that gives you a certain energy pattern. Then you might use an herb, let's say, that would add to the healing. And then maybe you use a prayer or use the name to connect to the person. And then maybe something that has a fragrance that's similar. So you start amassing quantity of the healing energy. And so it's like, I believe all prayer, for example, works, but does prayer work like that? Or does prayer take a little while to manifest? And what we're teaching here is how to take your manifesting time down.
Okay.
Powerful, by adding layers, by adding more and more of that angelic energy.
Right. Which it's going to happen a lot faster if you're calling upon that. That makes that makes a lot of sense. And this is something anybody can do this, right?
Yes.
This isn't just like, you don't have to be special to be able to be a healer or call in the angels. We're all special anyway, right? But any of us can do it.
Correct.
Jill, I am not an angel person. I mean, I don't have a familiarity or a comfort with angels. comfort, wrong word, but I just have no experience with angels. Will you kind of guide me through that? If do I have to know a lot about angels to attend?
No, you have
Yes.
to know nothing.
That's
And
what I was trying to get at.
how to put it? Sensing them and starting to work with them is done with your feelings, not with any special skills.
Oh, okay.
So you don't even need to come in and be an intuitive.
Or see them, or
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Nothing
Now,
special.
maybe we can teach you to do that,
Yes.
but if you can't, it doesn't matter. You can still access it. And the major tool you need is to be able to feel, somebody slugs you. Do you feel it?
Yes. Yeah. No.
That easy. We all feel.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And we can all do this. And what a perfect class to offer. I offer now. We all need healing, right? It's been
Yes.
a tough couple of years. Like, we all need to kind of come together and call on our angels that are there for all of us. Yeah.
And it's so detailed, it's so accurate, it's so reusable, it's so healing on so many levels.
Yeah, I
It's
love
fun.
it. Yeah,
It's
I
fun.
know. It does sound like fun. Karen, what other questions do you have? Because I know you had a list of things.
Oh, Jill has been my uh lead into finding fellowships of the spirit. So I love her rich history with the Egyptian times and the ancient times and the ancient wisdom. And I just want to give her a plug that she pulls it all together. And even if you're not familiar with those periods of time, or the words of God, or a lot of that is first time around for me, I always feel like in your classes I can understand it. So you're not too heady with it, like, oh my gosh, this is so much history, because I'm not a history person either. So I just love the balance you have in your classes, and you always put us into like meditations, and it's interactive like that, right? We're listening to music or
Absolutely.
you guiding us, so it's not a one-dimensional talking head the whole time, and it's also online and in person.
Yes, which is great too. And you walk out of the class feeling balanced and centered.
Absolutely. It's like you get a wonderful energy treatment, and you can revisit it. I usually give people my slide points so they get the details, and they're all coming home with the 72 names of God in sound.
Yeah. I remember I learned about healing from you. You probably don't even remember when I bought that sound bowl and I talked to you, and that's years and years and years ago. And I remember like when you were talking about the frequencies and you said, hold a different bowl and try to play it and you'll find the one that's attuned to you. And I remember like I tried so many, I couldn't get them to sing. And then all of a sudden I picked up one, I kept being drawn to it, and I could get that bowl to sing, and I still can. It makes complete sense, and I feel healed every time I use it.
It's kind of like in Harry Potter with the hat, the sorting hat. It's really the same thing. The hat picks the student. Well, the bowl picks the person, because it's going to speak with your core energies and exchange energy back and forth. There's the sound, there's the feeling, there's the healing.
Yeah.
And crystals do that as well, right?
Excuse me?
Crystals find you too?
Correct.
Yep, the same.
You can tell it's kind of like what you're drawn to. And I was drawn to that. And you said, well, try to play that one. And I said, okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. And it sang beautifully and still does. So, yeah, thank you, Jill. So Karen, let's pull Jill's class up again. Okay, so everybody can kind of see when it, and you don't want to miss this. Feel centered and feel balanced and feel good, which who doesn't need that right now? Come to discover Angel Reiki and activate your 12 dimension energies, where Jill is talking about kind of reconnecting to you what's already there inside, how to connect with angels and to connect with what you need, in your body to be centered and balanced. What frequency do you need? So I love that. This class is Sunday, June 25th, from 10 to 5. You can attend in person at Fellowships of the Spirit, and that's Lakeside Learning Center, 282 Dale Drive in Cassadaga. It's right outside the gates of Lilydale. Or you can attend on Zoom, and I know Jill would love to see you, and we're excited to see you, Jill, too.
May I plug? I have a workshop in Lilydale.
You sure can. Yes.
Okay, thank you. On August 25th, it's a Monday. We're going to learn time travel and going into the past and going into the future. And of course, time is a dimension. So we're also going to learn how to use different energies from different dimensions. And then healing by healing the past, eliminating karma, and into the future by depositing energy. It's really fun and exciting. And I have
Love that.
another class coming up with fellowships in September on using the voice in your mouth to like a powerful tool, and using it for manifesting. In the beginning was the word, and the sound being the creative force. It's so vague, but we'll get into details. So how to use it to change things like that.
Love that. Okay, I can't wait. And Karen, you'll put links for all the classes and comments.
Yes. I have the other classes are, I'm going to put a link there right now that's just off of a search. But if you search on Jill's name on both Fellowship's website and Lilydale, you will find her information.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jill. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for waiting with our technical difficulties. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah,
Sure.
I love this. Like angel wings for sure. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So everybody stay tuned because Dr. Ryan Gauthier is here. And I want hi Ryan. How are you?
Sorry, I had to unmute.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay. So it's good to see you.
You too.
Yeah. So everybody, this is Ryan, Dr. Ryan Gauthier. Okay, he is has over 20 years experience in natural medicine and healing arts. I loved all the amazing things that you do when I read your bio. I didn't know all this, and I know you. So he holds both a master's and a doctorate in acupuncture and Oriental medicine. He additionally has a master's in integrative healthcare leadership. Dr. Gauthier is a licensed acupuncturist and massage therapist, a registered yoga teacher, a clinical hypnotherapist, and Reiki master teacher. And of course, he was ordained through fellowships of the Spirit School and Healing of Prophecy. When was that? A few years ago, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Oh, just 2 years. Oh, I thought it was longer. I feel like I've known you for a long time. So, Ryan, I feel like we can talk about your class, but I feel like I want to have you back because I want to ask about like so many things. Let me first ask about acupuncture. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so it's one of the oldest documented medicines. We have one of the oldest medical texts as well that explains how disease comes about in the body from an energetic form where it starts an energetic pattern first and then manifests physically. And from that, we're able to come up with patternings within the body, energetic, that can help reverse disease in the opposite way.
And that's what acupuncture does. Like with the needles. So can you do that? So so that starts before the disease, a disease manifests.
Yeah. So really what happens is signs will start to show up on the body. So we often look at things like 8 principles. Is the energy too internal? Is it too external? Is it too fast? Is it too slow? Is it too hot? Is it too cold? Is it too yin? Is it too yang? So these are kind of like bigger, broader categories, but those things will start to show up in the body very early. So for instance, if something's too hot, the face might start getting red before it manifests as another disease, or the tongue might start getting red, or somebody might get hot flashes or flushes. For instance, if something's too dry, you might start noticing flaky skin before an actual full pathogen arises. So there's different signs and symptoms we're trained to look at. And those are 2 kind of small examples. But we look at the tongue, we look at the pulse, we look at the eyes, we look at the shen, or the quality that's held within the spirit on the complexion. And all of those things grouped together kind of give us an idea of what the body's going on.
Wow.
And, as we know, the body's always in flux because we're energy in motion in our body.
Uh-huh.
And so that energy, everybody's going to have some small imbalance. Perfectly balanced is what we all strive for, but we all have our different imbalances. But it's when the imbalance goes too strong that it actually causes disease. And so we try to bring it closer back to that center point. And that's really what we do through acupuncture and Chinese medicine.
So would you say acupuncture? It almost kind of sounds like acupuncture should be something everybody should do.
Oh, yeah, it's really good. I mean, it can help maintain wellness as well. And I think what people don't often understand when you're trained as an acupuncturist, you're often trained in herbal medicine, you're trained in nutrition, you're trained in exercise, you're trained in meditation. And so these are all things we pair depending on what the patient needs in order to bring them to that balanced point.
Wow. And so that's like Chinese medicine, like, right? And as I'm listening to it, it's like diagnosing the whole, like the whole body, right? Not just.
Yeah, so we look for a pattern differentiation. And so how is the energetic pattern causing the symptomology in the body? And how do we reverse that pattern or set the pattern on the right course of path to counteract?
Wow. I love that. I especially, I personally love that because I can remember going to the doctor and being diagnosed with RA. I have RA. And or my body has it. They say I have it. I should never say I have it, right? And so, but I remember going to the doctor and they said, "Here's the medicine that's going to fix you." And I needed it. I was grateful for it. But I said, "Aren't we going to try to understand why I have it?" And they said, "No, we don't do that. We just give you the medicine to correct it." So whereas if I went to you would have said, you probably would, I probably wouldn't have had to ask that question because you already would have been doing that, right?
Well, I think it's a balance. I think we look for a root cause. We think of things as like a tree. You can either look at the branches, which are the symptoms, or the roots, which are the cause. And
Ooh, I like that.
and I think
True.
you try to address both. And so I think there's a place for Western medicine and Western medicine treatment. And I think it's
Yeah.
very important.
Yes.
But I also think that there's a place for our natural medicines and a place that they can work hand in hand and give a person the best care that they can possibly have by getting the best of both worlds. And I think discounting either one is a real mistake.
Yeah.
But I think when you get the combination, you can really see how you can bring a person back to that place.
That makes so much sense because I have to say I still take the meds. I'm very, very grateful for those. But then I kind of went on my own to sort of figure out the rest of it to kind of get myself in balance. It's important I think you need both to be perfect, to be better, not perfectly balanced, but better balanced, right?
I think so. And I think for some people, they don't need as much medication, or they might not need it after they get rebalanced. But that's us working alongside the prescribing physician to see if we can reduce things. And that often happens.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. But I think at the initial stages, medicine definitely has a very important part. And there's certain conditions where you definitely need to have medicine all the way through.
Yeah.
And it all depends on what the condition are, what the balance is for that person. And it's very individualized too. And that's why I don't like to cookie cutter anything for anyone, because I think when we look at a person, that person is an energetic body that has very different things that are coming in mind, body, and spirit. And so that's why we call it patterning. A pattern, you can fit into several different patterns at a time, but you're still going to have your own signature to that.
Yes. And I love that I was going to ask, that was going to be my next question is healing body, mind, and soul, because you have to heal on all those levels, right?
It really is. And I think sometimes it's chicken or egg game, which came first, but it doesn't really matter. It can be an emotional or an energetic thing that causes a physical, or a physical that causes the emotional and energetic. And so we treat one and it will affect the others. So it kind of depends on what thing is the most prominent right now that we need to peel away. And I kind of look at that one like an onion. There's different layers. And as you peel away, you may get deeper into what's actually going on from what it originally looked like, but you keep working on those layers and you don't just stop there.
Yeah, you have to keep going. So what are suggestions that you would have for people that are watching, and for me, I want to hear too, that we can do to stay balanced? What are the best things we can do?
Well, it's funny because a lot of things we hear about in the Western world, things like sugar and alcohol and fried foods that they say are bad, those actually throw off our energetic body as well. So
Ah,
working away from processed food as well, trying to have a more whole food diet, you know, um, and then I think in our society, we've forgotten that we need to have quiet time and downtime. And I'm a very busy person, but I also try to make sure that I have time where I'm alone, time where I can reflect, time where I can meditate, time where I can pray. And so that's another piece, is that body needs time to reset. And so another piece of that is adequate sleep, you know? And then we talk about exercise, and exercise doesn't have to be like power pump at the gym or lifting 500 pounds deadlift. It's about getting outside and moving the body, because a
mhm.
moving body is alive. A
Yeah.
stagnant body is starting to die. So, it's that balance between quiet time and movement, and not getting stuck in either one. And
And
so,
oh, go
yeah,
ahead. No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. No, I was going to say you can tell when you need it, and you don't always pay. Like I think it's listening to your body, because I know I just had a day I wasn't feeling well, and I thought I better take a day and just kind of stay home and read a book all day or meditate and not talk to anybody and just be by myself. And so that helped me to start getting better. But also I was starting to find that I couldn't think, like I couldn't make a decision, or everything seemed so big to me. And when I took that day, that's all it took. But the next day, I felt like I'm centered and balanced again. Like I can think, I'm okay, right?
Yeah, and I think these type of things and lifestyle modifications are things people can do all the time to try and give themselves balance. And you don't have to make it some big achievement. These are small lifestyle changes where, if you're eating bad every day of the week, first start out by trying to eat better 3 times a week, and make those little changes and see how your body feels. And
Yeah,
your body will speak for itself. And when
yeah,
you get enough sleep, you'll realize you aren't as anxious. You aren't feeling as angry. You aren't letting things irritate you as much. And it doesn't mean it's going to be a cure-all for every situation. Obviously, life fluctuates in its ups and downs, but it helps us to try and stay at a place where we can have a perspective that's very different.
that's so true. And you know what I think is important too? Like you said, start 3 days a week, be gradual. And also I think this is important too. If for some reason you have a day that you do eat a bag of potato chips or something, or you have some cookies, don't look at it like, okay, that's it. Go back to being healthy the next day, right?
I agree. I think sometimes we're so hard on ourselves
Yes.
that hardness affects the mental body, the spiritual body, the emotional body, and it can be just as damaging or more than the initial act of having that small cheat day, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think there's that balance where, no, you don't want to do bad all the time, but being too type A on yourself is going to be a hard thing too.
Yeah, because it's kind of what you're saying to yourself, right? If you're beating yourself up and I'm bad or I do everything wrong or something, that's not good messages to give your body or give yourself, right?
And I think from the spiritual perspective, whether that's Chinese medicine or being a reverend, we have to respect and love ourselves. And so there's different ways to do that. And I think beating ourselves up over something we did that might not have been the best choice is not good. Looking more towards the future and how we can lessen that in the future is a better choice. You
You
know,
must.
I, I I see people beat themselves up all the time and give me a list of the things that they did wrong. And I'm like, okay, it's great that we acknowledge this, but let's leave that there.
Yeah, we don't have to focus on the bad things like over and over and over again. And besides that, isn't that like we're here and we're spirit in a human body. We're here to learn. Of course, we're gonna. I don't know if you want to call them make mistakes. I'd say more. Of course, we're gonna create those learning opportunities, right? Look at them that way.
Well, I think it brings up a good point about judgment too. You know, often society puts an image of who we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to be, but they don't take into account all the trauma that people go through. And everybody has trauma in their past in some way, shape, or form.
Everybody.
And so some people might deal with the trauma by being a type A personality. Some people might deal with it by eating their emotions. Neither is necessarily a balanced approach, but it helps them in the time where they're at to survive. And so it's about looking at what that pattern is and making the choices to have healthier ways to deal with things too, but without judgment. I think that judgment piece is key, and it's self-judgment and external judgment. And so, yeah, go ahead,
I
Karen.
was going to say, I wasn't ever thinking of I'm hurting my energy body when I speak poorly about myself or my spiritual body. I guess I'm so in the, I feel I was relating to my physical, but you're really bringing up how it is within all of those layers. And
Yep.
Because we're made of water, I know water has a lot to do with that too, with the frequencies of water. And so this is a great reminder for me to, when you're speaking down about yourself, it's on all energetic levels, not just.
Well, and it's interesting. We just talked to Jill. I'm also a sound therapist. It's one of the things
I know you are. I was
mention.
going to.
But I would say the words we say create a vibration as well. And it's very practical. So getting back to the acupuncture or even the chakras in Ayurveda, those are energy bodies within the body that have been mapped out through the ancient arts, whether it's Indian or whether it's Chinese. And when we create a vibration that's not healthy, whether that's through food or lack of exercise or even over exercise, I mean, that can be just as damaging. We create a patterning. We're setting the intention for that energy within those maps. And so what we can do is help release that through our intention or through energy work. And so I think that is what's super important, is to know that there's always a part that can be healed, and that's coming from a place of divine energy, not from a place of judgment. Because often people will say, when you point out something that needs to be healed, maybe you're judging. No, it's about how do we get back balance so we can live the most optimal life.
And connect to the divine energy that's there for all of us. Just so you're saying that with Jill, right? With the angel energy or the intuitive energy, it's there. We just have to sometimes reconnect to it, right?
Right. And sometimes when we can identify how the energy flows through our body, we can automatically tell when something's off. Yeah. Like, being a doctor of Chinese medicine, I can be like, I feel kind of funky today. I think I'm coming down with a cold. Then I'll instantly take my pulse and I'm like, oh my, the pulses are off too. I need to do something right away or this is going to develop further. And sometimes I can catch it and stop it right in its tracks. Other times it's too far advanced.
Yeah. But you can stop it like how? By saying, I think I'll rest, or I think I'll.
Yeah. So I will often rest if I feel like it's cold caused by cold. Then I'll wear warmer clothes. I may take Chinese herbs, drink hot tea. So there's a bunch of different tricks. Use essential oils.
Are these things that you're going over in your class?
Yes, let's talk. I know.
I was just curious. I know I spoke to you about your class, but I didn't know if you're giving that type of tips and tools.
Well, there will be small tips fed into the whole class. What we're going to do in the class is look at these ancient Chinese medicine and Ayurveda medicine and how they map the body and the energy. So we'll start out at a very basic route and talk about colors, talk about pathways. I'll hand out some maps of energy in the body. We'll actually feel some acupuncture points on the body and see what the energy feels like. And then what we're going to do is actually work on each other and see how we can adjust that from a very easy way. Because you do not have to be an acupuncturist, a yoga teacher, an Ayurvedic doctor to utilize these energies. These are part of our divine right as a human. We're given this energy, and you just can't put a needle in somebody. I mean, you need a license to that. Or as a massage therapist, you can't manipulate the tissue because you need a license, but you can definitely still work with the energy that's underlying. And so we're going to explore that and explore some very interesting ways to do that with each other through visualization, through intuition, and linking intuition to logic or creativity to concrete. And so I often think one of our teachers at fellowships was Cassandra Joan Butler, and she talks
Yes.
about the Gemini energy, where often people think it's the two twins and two different personalities, but she tells us it's the creativity or the intuition meeting the logic. And I think about that within our healing work, is that Gemini energy, is how do we use something logical and not get up in the clouds of something unobtainable, but also use our intuition combined at the same time. And
Oh
I
my,
think that's what this course explores.
I love that. I love that. And that's something for everybody, because everybody, I have that within me, the logic, versus the intuitive and what to do with that. I love that. So so Ryan's class, Karen's going to pull up a graphic, is Ancient Wisdom in Modern Healing. Okay. It's on June 24th from 10 to 5. Is it hybrid or no?
It's not hybrid. And part of the reason we chose to do it this way first is because of the amount of hands-on work we're doing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, you would need to be there in person. So, okay, so it's in person at Fellowships of the Spirit, Lakeside Learning Center, 282 Dale Drive. And if you've never been down to Fellowships of the Spirit, it is right on the lake. They have beautiful windows. You get to learn, you get to heal. Oh, look at this. Karen pulled that picture up too. Look at that. Okay, that's a view. That's how it looks. You pull up to that building, but you sit and there's such a sense of peace looking out at that lake, right, Ryan? We were just there.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful space. And I think, it's a perfect space to work within your own energy. And I guess one of the points I want to make about my class too is it's super non-threatening. People often look at these things and they're like, I don't even know where to start. There's so many people that profess to be an expert on this energy and it feels unobtainable. This is not. I teach you that there's not really a wrong answer. It's about exploring. And as humans, we're here to learn and explore. And it's about learning how to help yourself and help others through exploration of your own energy. And we're going to be using stuff like meditation, maybe even a little bit of group hypnotherapy to see meridians and acupuncture. We're going to
Wait,
be.
wait. What are meridians?
Oh, so meridians are the channels through the body that acupuncture points lie on. So we
Ah,
kind of think about them like rivers of energy in the body. So
okay.
there are 12 major energy rivers, and then there's two center line as well, which are older energy. And we'll learn how to look at that river and see where there's imbalances. And you can kind of think of it like, where has a big boulder been put in the stream and hold things up? And so how do we remove those boulders so that the stream flows more easily?
I getting chills when you say that. That's so true. But in class, they're going to learn how to get rid of the boulders so their energy flows more freely. We all are, and that's going to help us be more in balance all the way around.
Yeah, and for people who are experienced with spiritual style healing, we often just let our intuition guide us and we go from spot to spot. This will actually combine that with some of these systems that are added in. And what we have to remember is the chakras and the meridians were mapped through meditation and intuition by the ancient sages.
Ah,
And so it's not like this is just somebody had a logical thinking. No, they were actually working within their own energy fields and came up with how to map this within the body.
wow, that's awesome, and I love that. So this class workshop is for anybody can come. Do you have to know anything to come?
You absolutely have to know nothing. I'm going to be starting out from square one. And the part I would like to share is there's going to be pearls of wisdom for everybody. So even if you've been doing energetic healing for 20 years like myself, you will get something from this, because I've gotten to study with people from around the world who have taught me interesting things over my years of training and study and clinical application that you may never learn anywhere else. And so we will start out at the basics and talk about chakra colors or colors associated with each meridian and what those look like and what the emotions are. But then we'll move fastly into the next area of how do you apply this to your own life?
Yeah, yeah, which is so important, and get those all balanced and know what to do. And don't you think this too, Ryan? It sounds like they're going to learn this in class too. It's awareness of your body too, and awareness of how you're feeling and what you need.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And the other piece that I think goes along with this is as we're working in class, we'll learn how to work on families and friends too. And so it's not that you're only going to learn about yourself. You'll learn how to, this is embodied in yourself, but then how it's embodied in another person.
And so you can take it if you want to and say somebody in your family isn't feeling well or something's going on. You can use the techniques you learn to help them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so people who are familiar with Reiki and laying hands over certain spots, we're going to be utilizing that same type of energy or the same energy that you use in spiritualist style healing, of raising hands above a certain spot on the body to help manipulate the imbalances or rebalance the imbalances. I guess manipulate's not the word I like, but
Yeah. I
uh,
know that sounds like what? But you're right though. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and then also, I'm a person who is able to see points in the body and points of imbalance by looking. But we know that some people are more visual, some are more kinesthetic, some are more auditory, and all of these things will come into play with this work as well.
So you mean see it that you're seeing it intuitively?
Yeah. So sometimes when I work with an acupuncture patient, I'll see a point on the body that's an acupuncture point mapped show up as gray. And I'll know that that point needs to be needled. And so it doesn't happen on 100% of the points all the time, but sometimes those visions will happen. Or I can see in a chakra that part of the chakra is working fine or the other chakra is not. And I'm going to walk people through how they can do that themselves as well.
Oh, this sounds like a dynamic class. This is awesome. Everybody, you can't miss this class. This is an important class for you, and if and getting yourself balanced. And it's an important class. You can use it to help other people, and we need this. I think healing right now in our world is so important, don't you, Ryan? And being in balance.
I do, and I think learning this can be fun. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. And I think that's the point I like to drive home too, is that we're going to have fun in this class.
And you are fun, Ryan.
Ryan is fun. Yes, I
he
agree.
is a good, fun person to take class with, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even though I have tons of graduate studies, tons of experience, I try to bring this to a level that is manageable and obtainable for the masses. And I think that's part of my goal, because we can all use healing in our lives.
All of us, every single one of us. That's for sure. I love it. Karen, can you pull that up again? Just for
Yep.
case.
And
Karen, we'll put the link. Oh, we got some comments here too.
Yep. And it was me putting links. I think that you would agree some healing is better than no healing.
Yes, absolutely. So ancient wisdom and modern healing, practical ways to combine ancient wisdom about the meridians, chakras, and energy flow in your healing practice. And this is with Dr. Ryan Gauthier. He's very knowledgeable and he's fun, because that's so important in learning. I agree with you, Ryan. We have to have fun. So this class is held in person at Fellowships of the Spirit, June 24th, 2023. That's coming up, I think, in 2.5 weeks. And it's from 10 to 5. So come on down, register. There's going to be a link and comment for register. You can also look on my Facebook page and Fellowships of the Spirits page, because we'll be posting it, over and over again, and you'll be able to get the link there. And you can also register at www.fellowshipsspirit.org, and that's with 2 S's. So absolutely take a look there for Ryan's course, Jill's course, which is coming up, Angel Wings, Discover Angel Reiki and Activate 12th Dimension Energies. And that's on, what date is that, Karen? That's on the 25th. That's on June 25th.
Right after Ryan, yep.
Yep, and then you're right, the day after Ryan's. Yeah, so what a great weekend, really. You can make a weekend out of it, is come and see, take Ryan's class Saturday and Jill's class Sunday. Jill's is available on Zoom or in person. And then we also talked earlier to Brad Young, his class on dowsing. And that's what day, Karen? The 17th?
The 17th. And that one is in person and online.
Yeah. So lots and lots of excellent courses coming up for Fellowships of the Spirit the whole month of June. or I'm sorry, the whole month, but the whole summer. So, and going into the fall. So definitely take a look at the website. And Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. It was so interesting. I have to have you back on again. I have lots of things to ask.
Sounds good. There's lots of stuff we could talk about. Thank you both for having me on, and I very much appreciate the opportunity. And I hope everybody out there decides to come and try out the class with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Try it out. And thank you to Jill Mattson and to Brad Young as well. And thank you, Karen.
Yep. No
Okay.
problem.
And thank you everybody for joining us. We appreciate it. And we can't wait to see you down at Fellowships of the Spirit this summer. Thank you.